least we deserved. We obviously go behind in the game. I thought we had some good moments in the first half, played through their pressure quite well. We obviously looked to take a quick... well, firstly we had the chance to go 1-0 up. It results in the corner, and from the corner we obviously get done on the counter attack. But I felt at half time, I just said to the players, we just need to...
What's the overall feeling after that today?
Keep building the game, keep moving them side to side. It results in the corner, from the corner we obviously get done on the counter attack. But I felt at half time, I just said to the players, we just need to... diamond.
After that today?
Keep building the game, keep moving them side to side. It results in the corner, from the corner we obviously get done on the counter attack. But I felt at half time, I just said to the players, we just need to... diamond.
How am I getting feedback? What on earth just happened there? Massive gremlins in the system. It's a bit like how we played today, wasn't it? Where's the camera? The camera's not even on. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. It's just one of those days, isn't it? It is just one of those days. League in the bag, can't complain. Can't complain. Did some of the players turn up today? Did some of the players not turn up today? Dice Maida was given the opportunity to go back to Japan. Why was he back in Japan? He had some days off. Let me just double check this. Did some of the players turn up today? There we go, it's all fine. Did some of the players not turn up today? Ray is coming in from Vietnam, and a statement win would have been nice, but an important thing that we didn't get beat. Prep time for the cup final. Are you confident? Are you confident going into the cup final? Realistically, that was an underwhelming performance today by Celtic. A very underwhelming performance. I'm going to say it. I thought the first half they didn't allow us to play our normal game. They dictated the passage of play. They sat back and allowed us to play. They allowed Callum McGregor, they allowed Cameron Carter-Vickers and they allowed Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales to pass the ball about at the back. When it came to going further forward, they controlled the midfield, completely controlled the midfield in the first half. And I thought some of their passes of play in the first half were definitely far too predictable. We did have a nice little period where we kind of looked as if we were trying to gain control of the game, but without any impact at all, really. They had three free headers in the first half. When the goal that came through that was ultimately offside, and rightly so, it was a warning shot across the bows for Celtic that we didn't heed at all. You know, we played Brendan Rodgers, went in with, and then we could bemoan the bench. We can bemoan that bench. Yang, McCowan, Schlupp, Norobski, Kenny, Bernardo, McArdle, Trusty and Scott Bain. It shows Celtic are, not as strong as we thought. Stephen Johnson says, Baz, no players turned up first half. We were better in the second. I think that was due to the formation change and the tactical changes that Brendan Rodgers made in the second half. Brendan Rodgers did make us a bit more tactical aware and defensive going into the first 10 minutes of the second half. We won the league again, says Armstrong. It says Anne Armstrong, hail, hail. And Adam, either the Rebel Army. We were off at the first half, far too slow throughout spells in the game. It's the third game in a row. They can't play football against us. All they have to do is press, soak up pressure and try and get a set piece or break. Ray, that's the way that Barry Ferguson played as a player. He's trying to get this Rangers team playing the way that they played at his time as a player. Hats off to him for doing that. Brendan Rodgers, I thought, once again went into a game with the hope that players would turn up. Rio Hatate, he can turn up against other teams and he can be a fantastic player, scores fantastic goals. Coming in towards the end of the season, you think, yes, the real Rio Hatate, please stand up. Rio Hatate wasn't at it the first half. I didn't even say the second half. Brendan Rodgers bemoaning the fact that Arnie Engels was pretty woeful with his passing in the first half, and then saying, look, I'm going to give Dice Maida that one because he was back in Japan. He's been back in Japan all week, and he just came back to training yesterday. Why is why was he allowed to go back in such an important game? But maybe he went back for some medical issue, we don't know. But anyway, it is what it is. The question is today, up in the poll section, is, are we too predictable? I've said for a while now that we're far too predictable when it comes to corner kicks, when it comes to any kind of tactical manoeuvres on the outside of an opponent's box. We're far too predictable. Corners, far too predictable. We don't mix it up enough. We don't do short ones. It is just, as far as I'm concerned, it's too predictable. Anyway, I just had get everyone's thoughts on it. Apart from the 3-0 game, the first name of the season, we've struggled against them. The amount of Deadwood on the bench was horrendous, and no sign of any quality like Dumbelli, Rogic, Edward, etc. The levels. When you look at the players that are out injured, it does show that the squad is a little bit threadbare. Let's be honest. And you wanted a really good performance today. You did want a really good performance. Don't want that. Good to see Paul Lambert with Paul McStay in a picture. Oh, when was that taken? Love it when people just repost pictures and they don't give you, they take it as their own, and they don't tell you who took the picture or where was it. Anyway, move on from that. It feels like a defeat, I'm going to be honest. That game feels like a defeat for me. It was a game that we should have performed better in, and we just didn't completely. Celtic fan celebrated spot in the full time at IBROX. Were in full swing with their songbook, kept in after the game for their own safety, obviously, and security and all the rest of it. But you've got to say, man of the match has to be Adam Ida. Adam Ida did what people said that he couldn't do and score in a big game, and he did. Adam Ida denies Rangers a third straight win in the Derby games. He scored the second half equaliser, which they tried to say was offside. As it went to VAR, and it was proven that Adam Ida, he wasn't himself offside. They tried to say that Dice Maida was offside at the start of the passage of play. They had to go back for about 5 passages to get to where they thought it was offside, but never mind. Rangers obviously were going for a third win in the Derby game, and didn't happen. Simple as that. The fact that Celtic did have 2,000 odd fans in the game, I just feel that I'm going to be honest, I just feel that I think that it was just, I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted the way we performed. Absolutely gutted. Let's just go into the comment section. Champions again, ole ole. We are pish at set pieces, both offensive and defending them. Yes, exactly. Thought Sinisalo was good. Dave Morton, you're bang on there. Sinisalo he's turning out to be one of the best buys that Brendan Rodgers has made on a financial scale. If you turn it around to us and said that Sinisalo was in the same valuation of Adam Eder and Arne Engels, if you said that Sinisalo cost £10 million, you wouldn't deny him that price tag, because some of the saves that he made in the first half were absolutely outstanding. He was one of the good things that came from the game today, is Sinisalo. I thought that it's a plastic derby now, just like a tourist attraction, says Most Wanted Sausage. I think that you're maybe right about that. Adam has scored many goals in big games. Today's game wasn't a big game. No, it wasn't a big game. It was a derby game, Paul. I get where you're coming from that. But in a football sense, it shouldn't feel like points dropped. You know, Brendan Rodgers reiterated the fact that, you know, when Celtic drop points, it feels like a loss. I never want to get beat in those games. I never want to get... And I want a Celtic team to go out. The second half when we went out, we upped the pace. There was the one-touch pass. But we're taking far too long on the ball the first half. Taking too many touches. Taking too long to pass the ball. Making the wrong passes. Brendan Rodgers, whatever he said to him at half-time, worked for about 25 minutes. We started doing the one-touch pass, attacking football. They couldn't handle us then. But then we kind of let them back into the game a bit. And I think that Brendan was hoping that we'd maybe get a goal quicker than what we did, and then push on. We didn't really push on. To use a Rangers paraphrase, I am disappointed, says Guitar Man. Yeah, me too, I'm going to be honest. I'm disappointed with the draw. I'm disappointed with the performance. Is it right to call out some players of not being a good enough standard? Greg Taylor today wasn't at the races. Arne Engels, first half was woeful. I think the whole team was pretty much woeful the first half. They tried to man Mark Callum McGregor the second half. They tried to man Mark Callum McGregor and bring him out of the game. We'd managed to make a few tactical changes at that point to nullify the fact that they were trying to man Mark Callum, which worked. You've got to give Brendan Rodgers for that, for recognising that. Mad Mac says, should we stick with Sinisalo? Yes. 100%. If he's the keeper for the future and he's doing well just now, yes, why not? I feel that as good as a keeper as Schmeichel is, as good a keeper as he is, I think that the performances and some of the point blank saves today, the one where it come off Cameron Carter-Vickers and then spilled up to almost come off the post, the crossbar, sorry. I thought he'd done fantastically well at that. And some of the point-blank saves that he made the first half were just absolutely phenomenal. I think that he should keep his position, and especially going up to the cup final. I think that if a keeper's been out injured, yes, he can maintain his fitness, etc. But I think it would be unfair to drop Sinisalo at this time because he's done absolutely nothing wrong. We missed Tierney and Brown, put a rocket up their arses, saying get rid of Engels and get our money back. Hatate can leave. McGregor shouldn't be guaranteed a game every week. See, I love it when they come out and say that Callum's past it, and you have to look at what's going on in the game. There was times in the game when McCallum was getting man-marked by two players. Now, Celtic managed to change it around a bit, but we're far too weak in midfield. The 4-3-3 system, whilst it worked for 25 minutes or so of the game in the second half, sometimes Brendan Rodgers would say, judge me on my performances and my results. There's only been one game this season that I think Brendan Rodgers tactically was very astute and changed the game in play as a manager. And you know what? When you look at the benches, right, I'm going to give them a little bit of respect. I never usually give them a bit of respect, but when you look at the benches and you look at the team, the backroom staff, they're working as a team on the bench. They're talking about things, discussing things, and talking about interactions of play and whatever, looking at the screens, analysing situations live. We've got a guy who's the number 2, just sits there. Every time you look at him, he's just sitting there. There's no interaction between him and Brendan. And then you've got Strachan, our set piece specialist, who's just sitting looking at his iPad. And there's a bit of me says, do you know, why are we not a bit more proactive? And yes, they could be sitting looking at games and go, and you can say, look, you can complain about when we get beaten, you can complain about we can get a draw, but when you're winning, you're not complaining about it. Well, I've actually said this before, that I think that I admire the togetherness and the workmanship that lot put in, and I think that it could potentially serve them well. That's all I'm saying. I just think that our bench is more of a reactive type bench. Yeah, that's probably the word I'm looking for. Our bench and our backroom staff are more reactive than consistently proactive throughout the game. It's all fine Brendan Rodgers sitting taking notes and waiting until we get in at half time. That's kind of an old school way of managing, isn't it? When you look at the way that Barry Ferguson and his backroom staff are sitting on the bench, and you know, there is a lot of interaction. Anyway, Callum was solid as usual, says Guitar Man. He takes the ball under pressure and through the game. Yeah. When Calmac saved us twice, said Paul Maguire, I think that Calmac played fantastically well considering he was under a lot of pressure. Everyone knows you stop Callum playing, and it's as simple as that. But are we too predictable? That is the main question in the poll this afternoon. Are we too predictable at corners? You can't argue that Arne Engels can sometimes put in a fantastic ball. Sometimes Arne Engels will put in a ball and you're like, what the fuck? Don't know, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. But does that come down to the tactical astuteness of our backroom staff? See, it's coming back to that again. It's coming back to the tactical awareness and in-game changes. You know what I mean? I just don't think that we do enough. When you see some really cracking teams, they don't do every single corner the exact same. Do you know, they don't. We've never, how many times have we scored from a header, from a corner this season, with the amount of corners that we get? You know what happened to maybe not even a short ball out to the width, but you've got 3 players sitting in front of the box. Today we had 3 players on the outside of the box. Now they're obviously waiting on the second ball dropping down, and then they can attack that ball. And you can say, well, that's the tactical awareness and that's the tactical game that Gavin Strachan's got them playing. Is try win the first ball, if not header into the net, try and win the second ball. You've got 3 players on the outside of the box. Now that's fine. But if you do that again and again and again and again and again, and it doesn't work, you need to change it. You know, you need to try and get a quick ball out to these guys that are on the outside of the box. There's no use having 3 guys on the outside of the box and not getting the ball to them quick. Because Callum McGregor, Rio Hitatia can take shots from the outside of the box. You've then got the second ball scenario in the box. If their shot ricochets off a Rangers player and falls at the feet of a Celtic player, you've then got that opportunity. When we are not picking up the second ball in the box, when we're allowing the Rangers players to get it and then just punt it up the park, I just don't think that it's too great. We have to talk about, obviously, once again, articles being thrown onto the pitch at IBROX. I noticed that there was no safety netting at IBROX. No safety netting between fans at IBROX. They've obviously decided that they don't need to install safety netting. I wonder what Celtic will say to that, because I think that was part of the agreement. Part of the agreement that there would be safety netting installed. And now that we do have just over 2,000 and there was no safety netting installed. But then again, when the keeper is getting bottles and stuff thrown at him on the pitch, and you've got Rangers players running onto the pitch. Now, you've got Rangers players running onto the pitch to pick up the bottles before the ref sees it. That's sneaky as fuck. Paul Baird says we were too slow getting the ball forward on too many occasions today, to be honest. Paul, we saw the second half, the first part of the second half, when Brendan went a little bit more defensive with the team when they were in attack. He went to near enough a 5 at the back, went really defensive to make sure that we didn't concede early on in the second half. We did start doing the one-touch pass stuff, the really good, attractive football. For some unknown reason, the players right now are too comfortable. I'm going to say it. Brendan Rodgers can back up the team and say, look, Dice Maeda was in Japan all week. Why was he in Japan? Hopefully we'll find out the answers to that. But we just... Kuhn done nothing today in the game, once again. But Arne Engels and Adam Ida, a total 20 million and waste of money. Have they really improved us since last season? I would say that Adam Ida's not been a waste of money, and yet Arne Engels is still only 21-year-old. You've got to... I've said this before. If you put Arne Engels beside one of the 21-year-olds that's coming through the youth system at Celtic, this is the same age. Arne Engels is an international player, and I think that he's a player that is way more developed than a 21-year-old that's came through the system at Celtic. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. We need a bit of a clean out, says Jim McClarty. I don't think that we need a clean out. We all know the players. Now that this game's over and done and dusted, we will start talking about, because his kid was... Did they go back so they could have the kid in Japan? Seriously? Maeda was in Japan because he was missing his... I thought, but they stayed in Scotland. Okay, fair enough. Couldn't done absolutely nothing today. Let's rate the players. There's not as many people on because there's other games on. Sinisalo, I'd give Sinisalo 9 out of 10. Tony Ralston, I'd give Tony Ralston myself. I'd give him a 7. He's a solid, but he's a 7. We know the standards of Tony Ralston. Scales, bomb scaler at their goal. He should have done better. He went to ground too early. He should have just kept on running diagonally with the player, and it would have pushed the Rangers player out wide. Let's win the treble and rebuild. Do we need a rebuild? Do we really need a rebuild? Tam says, knocked a full pint of Stella over my coffee table. I'm more raging about that than the Celtic score. Spent more time cleaning up. Yeah, this is true. The kid could have dual citizenship and played in Scotland. God forsake, God, never mind. Nothing will happen as usual. The Scottish mainstream media will just say, what can they do about bottles on the pitch? It's that'll be the narrative of the Rangers Football Club, yeah. I just think it's in this day and age, putting up banners, basically saying shoot all tags on target. Let's not deny that's what it meant. Shoot all tags on target, and they're no Pope in Rome and up to their knees in Fenian blood. It makes you proud to be Scottish. It does make you proud to be Scottish when you're sitting in another country and you're listening to that nonsense in 2025. Anyway, Scales wins the ball for their goal. Dressers hit the football for him. Scales didn't really. He didn't hit the ball. Scales. He went in too early. But anyway, it is what it is, isn't it? It's a 1-1 draw in the final derby of the season. Thank God we don't have to witness or have anything to do with them. Johnny Kenny to start against Hibs on Saturday. Says Stephen Kelly. I'm not too sure about that. Anyway, that's me done and dusted. Display a banner with a monkey shooter and bucky bottles. Who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, nothing's going to happen. It is Scottish football. We've got 130 votes, and I'm going to wind that poll up there saying, are we too predictable? A lot of people saying, yep. Kuhn was crap. He's like a ghost. Is Kuhn thinking that I cannot get injured between now and the end of the season? Kuhn wasn't even playing. he's talking about. Jesus God. Anyway, I am done and dusted for the day. My throat is gone for shouting at the telly in the pub. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world. That's all I'm going to say. Feels like a disappointing, but I'm sure that the other side will be even more disappointed. The fact that they didn't manage to beat us for the third time in a row. Might have to do a hackathon later. Let's see.